Hey, what's up, November 22 people? I'm going to break down prompt number 3 for your TOK essay, give you some great evidence. Let's get an A in TOK.
Get an A in TOK.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of information here, but if you need even more help, I'm here to help you. If you look at the links below, you can get some free resources from me. And then if you really want some extra help, you can sign up to have me as your tutor. I have a lot of different ways that you can do that. You can get with me one-on-one. I have 2 students. I'm meeting them every single week. If you want to have me look at your TOK essay, the thing you're working on right now, I can help you with that. You can check out fiverr.com/PatFreakinJones. That's me. I can help out with TOK essays, TOK exhibitions. I just help someone with their high-level essay. Yes, I do that as well. So if you want some extra help beyond this beyond this video, go ahead and get a hold of me on Fiverr. But guess what? This video is free. This is YouTube. Let's figure out this prompt. Okay, if you look at this prompt, my first piece of advice, and also, by the way, all of the evidence is going to be in the second half of this video. Here's something that's important. This is an either-or question. Make sure that you hint or preview your answer, then fully answer the question in the conclusion. Your intro should answer this in a sentence. Then the conclusion should further discuss this in about 250 words. So I didn't put this in my notes, but something really important here. What you will probably lean towards doing is saying, well, sometimes unanswerable questions are more important, and then sometimes unanswerable questions are more important. Did I say that right? You're gonna try to say, hey, they're both good. That's what you want to avoid doing. Go ahead and take a stand. Say it's more important to do this, and I believe this because of X, Y, and Z. So don't do what most people do and say, oh, they're both valuable in certain times depending on the AOK. No, don't do that. What you want to do is take a stand. Take a stand and tell me why you believe that. Okay, the second thing, you want to have evidence that supports both sides, saying that it is more important to have unquestionable answers or unanswerable questions. There, I got that right. So you want to have ideas supporting both sides being better. So even though I think we'd all agree that it's not good to have questions that can't be answered and that can relate to, don't answer this because I don't want you to. You need to find times when not questioning someone's answer is actually a good thing. And I'll get to some of that in the evidence at the second half of this video. But think about the foundations of math in both of the sciences. There are some things in there that you are just not allowed to question. Now, when we think about things that you're not allowed to question, usually we think, oh, parenting, parents say, don't question me, you're not allowed to do that. That's not really what we're talking about here. There are some things that, especially as high school students, you're not allowed to question. Is that good? Is that valuable? Is that better than the opposite? That's what you want to be writing your essay about. Okay, the next thing, and this should be at the end of your paragraphs, is think about what happens, both good and bad, when you have unanswerable questions and when you have unanswerable questions. Did I say that twice? Think about what happens when you have unquestionable answers and unanswerable questions. There are effects. There are things that we gain, things that we lose. Whatever the result is of having those, that's how you're going to decide if it's better to have one or the other, and ultimately make your final claim in the conclusion. Okay, I want you guys to stand out, so I'm going to make this big suggestion. Avoid Donald Trump. Just avoid him in all aspects of life. Sorry, I don't mean to get political, but avoid him for your TOK essay right here, because his whole rise to presidency is filled with things that you weren't allowed to question. Okay, he's like, you can't question this. And sure, you can talk about that, but there's 2 reasons that I really suggest that you don't. First, teenagers often expose their biases when they talk about Donald Trump, either way, and convey these opinions, convey your own biases as fact. You really want to avoid that all of the time. But in TOK, you really want to avoid that as much as possible. So just if you can come up with an example that's not Donald Trump, go that route. And then secondly, and I see this all the time, guys, unless you are an American who really follows politics, you don't know enough about American politics to make it into a well-supported and justified point. So avoid low-hanging fruit. So you really don't want to be writing about another country's politics unless you really understand those politics, okay? I can't tell you how many times I edit people's papers. I'm sorry, I don't edit. I provide feedback. I help out. Also, check out fiverr.com/PatFreakinJones. I'll help you out. My packages start at $25. Sorry, that's lame, but they do. They start at $25, okay? You don't really want to be writing about things that you don't understand, and honestly, just a lot of people from other countries, they don't understand American politics. They have opinions, but you don't understand everything how it works. Just like I don't understand how politics work in the UAE. I have a lot of students who I work with from the UAE. I don't know how their government system. I don't understand it at all. So I'm not going to try to criticize their leader to make a point in a school assignment, okay? So just avoid the low-hanging fruit, avoid Donald Trump. Okay, the next thing is awesome. This essay title assumes that there are things that are unanswerable. So how do we know that something's unanswerable? The crazy things in science that you know we're trying to figure out, but that we think, at least today, we'll never know the answer to, they might be answered in 10 years. They might be answered in 100 years. So how does that connect to the prompt? That we are calling things unanswerable, but they might not actually be. Okay, and then no matter what you do, what you want to do for each paragraph is end by saying, this shows that it's either better or worse to have unanswerable questions and or unquestionable answers. All of those should help you come up to your opinion. Remember, either side, at the end of the essay. All right, so let's hop into the evidence. Looking first at the AOK of history, literally anything in history that we don't have indisputable evidence for is something that you can talk about here. Think about something that we question in history. Literally anything. Is it good or bad that we question those things? Think about something that we aren't in agreement on. The thing that popped in my head was who or how did they make the pyramids? Completely unanswerable because we have no documents explaining it. We can't interview people. We don't have the specifications for how they were built. So how the pyramids were built is unanswerable. We have theories, but we're never going to know. Never going to know. Okay, so now that we agree that the way that the pyramids were built is unanswerable, does that matter? Would it be better if it was so well known it was unquestionable? Maybe so. So Egyptians and the pyramids, that's my example. But what would happen as a result of a certain thing that we learn about, a certain thing that we study, a certain thing that maybe we have beliefs based on, being completely unanswerable because we will never know the truth because there were not enough primary explanatory documents to explain how those things happen. So most of history is unanswerable. So are we wasting our time when we study history? I don't know. That's what you're going to have to figure out. The next thing to talk about, thinking about the AOK of math, which remember is required in this. Math uses axioms, theorems, and reasoning and logic to know virtually everything. So what are the unquestionable things in math? Axioms only work because we accept them and we don't question things. I just read a great essay sent to me on Fiverr where someone was talking about there's like this massive, like 300-page paper about why 1 + 1 = 2. We don't question 1 + 1 = 2, but a lot of what we do is based on that. So 1 + 1 = 2, or what does 1 + 1 equal, is an unquestionable answer. We know the answer, we don't question it. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? What happens because we don't question that? That's what you can write about for maths. Now, opening it up to natural sciences, human sciences, and the math, you can think about formulas that you use. I talked about this for one of my other videos. You never question the formulas, just like you don't question some axioms in math as well. Why? Is that good or bad? And then when certain theories, certain ideas, certain formulas are questioned, what happens? Is that good or bad? So right now, a lot of long-held beliefs are being questioned. Evolution is being questioned. I'll put a link to that at the bottom. Pythagoras is being questioned as well. So research these. Research things that maybe were unquestionable, but now are being questioned. Is that a good or a bad thing? And then what happens because we're questioning those? In the natural sciences, we think about many things that we believe will never be answered. Things like string theory, things like a theoretical physics. I don't even really know what those are, but I'm a TOK teacher, so I have to pretend like I know what they are. Can these ever be fully answered? If you Google Michio Kaku, he's this really cool guy, lots of videos on YouTube. He explores this a lot. But what is the value of researching things that we can never know if they're actually true? Now, this could also connect to ways of knowing of faith and religion. Now, that's not an area of knowledge anymore with TOK. They kicked religion out and indigenous knowledge systems. They said, get out. But when you think about things that we can never prove, 100%, this goes back to history. What is the value of learning about those things? There is value. but you got to talk about it. Another thing you can look at is things that were once considered unanswerable questions in the science, and see what happened when people started questioning these. I'd say that most progress in sciences has been created because people said, this is unanswerable. And a few people, just maybe one or two, rejected that and said, I'm going to find the answers. So think about big famous discoveries, think about inventions, and think about whether or not they were questioning something that was said, you can't question it. Or maybe they were questioning something that they said nobody knows the answer to, and we're going to find the answer even though most people think it can never be found. So with this one, the arts actually really works. I really like this idea. Something that's easy is to think about the works of any type, visual arts, poetry, film, where the meaning is and isn't given by the author. If the author never tells us what the meaning of the art is, that's unanswerable. So is that good or bad? Is it better or worse? Is it more enjoyable or less enjoyable? If the meaning is unanswerable, does that help us appreciate and experience the art more or less than if the artist tells us, here's what my art is about? Here's the hidden meanings. Here's my personal connections. So to find this, look at an author that always tells, here's what my art is about, and then compare that to an artist who never reveals what their art is about. That's very often poetry. A lot of film directors reveal their intention. I saw this film, The Green Knight with Dev Patel. I hated it. I thought it was awful. And you think that if you think I'm not cool because I hated the film, that's fine. But it was awful. And then I read this article where the director said, here is the meaning behind all of these symbols and all these things. And one of them was like, my mom said this one time and it connected with me. I'm like, dude, I don't know your mom. So I didn't really want his answers. And so I didn't appreciate it as much. But then if you think about a lot of poetry, Robert Frost never wanted to give his meaning. So the true meaning behind some of his poems, which are very ambiguous, is completely unknowable. It's unanswerable. So does that help you appreciate his poems more or less? That's what you got to figure out. So I provided a whole lot of different examples here. If you want to look in the description, I'll provide a link to a blog post where I'm going to give you all of the examples. I'll give you links to a few websites. You can check those out. If you need even more help, get a hold of me on Fiverr. I can get stuff. I can answer your questions in one day. I have a 24-hour turnaround package if you want to hit me up on that. If you're really running into a deadline, I can get you something in like 5 or 6 hours. So get a hold of me, message me. I would love to help you out. I won't write your paper for you, but I can help you get this done. I hope TOK sucks a little bit less than it did at the beginning of this video. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.